going on, everybody? It's your boy Rail back with another review, man. Yo, this is True Detective Season 4, Night Country, Episode 3. Yes, first and foremost, salute to all those listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'm sure you got this, the episodes 1 and 2 review. Okay? All those checking it out on YouTube, Discord gang, of course. All right? We had another good episode of Night Country. This one I'm going to call very educational because a lot of things was like revealed. Like what they're doing is revealing piece by piece the people, their dynamics between each other, kind of why they are the way they are. Like Danvers, a lot of Danvers was exposed this episode with Detective Jody. Detective Jody Danvers. It's Liz, I believe. I got the cast right here on my phone, so I'm with the names. Okay, names seem to be very important with this particular show. Otherwise, you won't know what the hell you won't know what I'm talking about. Okay, but anyway, like I said, this one's very educational. What did we learn? That's what this review is about to be. What did we learn? Well, we learned the beef between Danvers and Navarro. Right? They had this buddy cop thing, kicked her off a case. They had beef. We didn't know why. They kind of messed with each other, but really didn't. Like a frenemy, if you would. It was like a frenemy type thing going on, but both respected each other's ability to get the job done. That's all we knew from episodes 1 and 2. Right? Now, our good brother Peter, you remember the very young, ambitious, he proved me right with his conversation with his lady. We'll get to that. But Navarro and Danvers is now, they chose to work together and they're hitting the streets hard. They going through pictures, they putting together clues. And you see how great it. I love figuring out stuff with detectives. Cause it's stuff that I would have never noticed. Her hair color? Do you realize the escalation of this episode came from some photos, real life photos, none in the phone, that were taken, and it was brought together by the woman's hair color. That's detective work. Huh? The best I would have came up with is, no, somebody knew about this. Who took this picture? In my brain, do y'all do like me? I was like, I would have figured that out. I was like, yeah. I would have been like, oh, maybe they set the camera right there. No, somebody took this photo. Right? Somebody else took this picture. It was somebody else. Who was the friend? But that's where I would have been confused. Right there. I wouldn't have known nothing. I'd have stopped right there. I just known somebody else was there. But from the dead woman's hair color, they tracked it. Because, I mean, like, how many hair salons is in Ennis? So let me not give them too much credit. No, I'm going to give them their credit. I was about to say, let me give them too much credit. Because there's only so many places you could go. And that's what I like about this, too. It's such a close-knit community. You feel like all your answers are right there. They're either in this town, the next town over, maybe, or somewhere in the vast snow in the cold. But you know it's all your answers, all your clues is right here. You ain't gotta do too much. It's right here. So I thought that was dope, how they piece it together. Oh, her hair color's fading. They've been together for some time. Who does hair color? It's only one hairstylist in town. Let's go do that. Anyway, good detective work. But Peter, and anytime we see stuff like that, when people are like getting closer and there's getting excitement, we see in all the buddy cop movies that the bonds start growing, right? They start connecting. And Peter's feeling the way. Cause he was Danvers' go-to. He was Danvers' number one. I thought we hated Navarro. I thought you hated her. And then he said, look, I'm tired of the mystery. What happened between you two? And in her explanation of the fallout of Danvers and Navarro, this is what we've learned. A, Danvers is a liar. She told Peter it was some terrible dude that was doing some horrific things to teenage girls, and he was brutal. We got a call that, you know what I'm saying, when she would be beaten up, we try to get them. She didn't want to press charges, domestic abuse stuff. There's nothing out of the ordinary. But she goes on to proceed to say, well, Navarro was just mad that we weren't there sooner. We didn't do anything about it when we had the chance. So he killed her. He killed himself. But in that little flashback, my man's was very much alive in that chair. Very much creepy. Guns was drawn on him. He was very able to answer questions, which means they didn't want to know the answers. They got all their answers. So Navarro and Danvers murdered that man together, and there was a fallout. Now, I'm assuming why nobody snitched is because he was evil, for lack of a better word. And one of the two broke the rules, got emotional, broke the rules, and that was probably likely the beef. Somebody had to go. I'm going out on a limb here. I don't think it's a far limb. I think it's pretty thick, pretty sturdy, on a sturdy tree. But I'm going to go out on this very comfortable limb, old, strong limb, and say one person wanted to arrest him so he could face proper justice, and the other person said justice begins in this cold shack, in this wooden igloo. This is where justice will be served, right here in the wooden igloo. I didn't see a heater nowhere. It was just cold, and all this cold just makes my anxiety go crazy. It's just 30 days of night and cold. I don't know how people do it. I'm just in utter amazement. But anyway, now, so we learned that was probably why those two fell off, but still kind of kept it friendly. Because even as the person who wanted to do the arresting and be on the right side, you're a person. And that person in you, like, you're a cop, so you gotta play by certain rules, you gotta do the right thing for the people. But then the person in you is like, you dirty bastard. Death, you deserved it. I didn't want to do it. She did it. Mad that she did it. I felt like we were better than that. But you kind of just okay with it. So you're not completely mad at that person. But y'all share that secret together because if she goes down, you go down type situation. Now, we learn more about Danvers in this episode. Because who is that person do I think shot him? Danvers. 1000%. Why? This is what I've learned about Danvers. Liz Danvers is a very complex character. Because what they give us is overbearing mom, but at the same time, not a good one. Like, like that. Okay, like with her stepdaughter, right? She's like, you almost felt like she was stuck with her in the first two episodes. This one, you get more of a, she's not finna lose her. She's doing everything in her power. She's got the job. She got a teenage daughter, and she can't lose this girl because we know from her flashback she probably lost another kid, and she's like, not today, right? So there is some compassion. We seen how she was when they went to go run down on the hairstylist and get them answers. We saw her with that kid and talking about the unicorn with the post. So she's really good with kids. She loves kids, believe it or not. She keeps poor Peter from seeing his kid and his wife, but she's always in somebody's house and she loves kids. Okay, so cool. She's got that. She's like extremely smart, very intuitive when it comes to police work. But she's dirty, right? Why do we know she's dirty? It's not the flashback of them two murdering. That's filthy enough. Okay, yeah, killing a man before going in court. That's pretty filthy, but we're gonna let that pass because I'm pretty sure we all agree with her in that move. But what lets you know she's a good cop that's down to break rules is that she asked the taxidermist to perform an autopsy, and not just any autopsy. She asked the not no he was a veteran, a vet, a veterinarian. She asked a veterinarian to perform an autopsy on some humans, and not just any autopsy, just a little bit of an autopsy, right? When dude comes in with his limited knowledge, I mean, he works on animals for a living, so there's only so much my man can do. But I even thought that was an amazing scene because we learned something else on that one. We learned that the frozen mansicle in the middle of the ice arena, they weren't killed. I mean, they didn't freeze to death. That's not how they died. They all suffered some type of uniform heart attack with fear. They died with fear and then froze later on. So they've been dead. They got scared to death, literally. And um, yeah, from the things that we've seen, it's very much in the realm of possibility. But the fact that she listens to him and goes, "Oh, this dude." Because remember, she's trying to do everything in her power to crack this thing before she has to send it to Anchorage. Because they don't have the stuff they need in Ennis. That's why we have the veterinarian in here giving us his limited knowledge. But when she asked him, like, "You sure you can't perform a little autopsy?" And Peter's like, "Come on now, that's illegal." And she's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'm joking. I'm joking. Unless you want to do it." No, no, no. Of course we can't. That's super illegal. Can't have a veterinarian doing an autopsy on human bodies. That's crazy, right? Okay, no, yeah, it's crazy. And I thought that was hilarious because she's like desperate to crack this case. Now, can I tell y'all something before we get more into what we've learned? I Y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but while we're on the topic of being scared to death, they find themselves being called in so that you remember that one remaining dude that was alive that was still screaming, blind. They done took the man's legs, the arms. They just amputating everything that's frozen, right, to try to keep him alive. The man, so he's lucky to be there. I don't know how lucky he's in. I'd probably rather be dead than be in his situation. I didn't even know the snow can make you blind, like the human body, right? But anyway, so my man is probably in the worst position possible. And she's like, I'm about to question him. Okay? Because he's the only one that can give us a name. They got a couple names and they run them down. But when he talks about White Walkers, huh? When Danvers is like, who did this? Where are they? What they look like? Who did this to you? It was White Walkers. Out of the snow, she was there and da da da. I was like, HBO loves White Walkers. Now, you guys are gonna call me crazy, right? You're gonna say, Rail, that is ridiculous what you are proposing. However, let me tell you what I would want to see happen. I don't want no real killer. Huh? I don't want it to be a real killer. I don't. I want there to be White Walkers. HBO loves White Walkers because of Game of Thrones. I love White Walkers because of Game of Thrones. He just said Game of Thrones. What channel are we watching this on? HBO. I say, forget this murder mystery. Y'all always jabbing us on True Detective with this, It's always this little mysterious mysticism in the air. Like, is it real or is it not? Are we dealing with people? Or are we dealing with ghosts and White Walkers? I say, throw the plan, stop teasing us, and give us authentic White Walkers. Let's just mash it on up. Why not? It's a show. It's for entertainment. Everything ain't got to be so realistic and real. I'm with just having White Walkers appear. It might throw off the story completely. How would you fight them? Who's going to find some dragon shards to destroy these things? I don't know. Don't care. 30 days a night in Ennis, Alaska. White Walkers. Let them hit the town. Let them eat everybody. I'm with it. What's the chance of that happening? Nil. Zero. Nothing. Okay? But I'd love to see that. What's more the likelihood? Because they're trying to spin us with this. They didn't die in the snow. What have y'all come up with? This is probably like y'all have my fun hot take. That's not even a hot take. That's just a wish. But in reality, knowing how they died, because I'm gonna believe the veterinarian, knowing how they died from fear him talking some nonsense, missing people still. There's still a missing character going around. We found one of the two. We found Oliver, right? We'll get into that. But the boyfriend, we don't know where he is. Okay. So I was thinking, how do you scare somebody to death? Like, what do you do? Like, and it hit me. Drugs. Drugs. I think, do I believe that the person that wanted to kill these scientists, like, put some LSD or some super the high powerful form of shrooms or something in their coffees and drinks, and then like a Scooby Doo episode, dressed up as a White Walker and just was like, "Ooh, let's go out in the snow," and then just transformed and went, "Ooh," and everybody was like petrified, right? It's possible, and I'm thinking that's where I'm leaning with the whole thing. Just one bad episode of Scooby Doo. I feel like Liz and Navarro's gonna find some dude dressed up as a White Walker out in the snow, and then rip off his mask, and he's gonna hit him with the "and I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you two overly ambitious women," and the code. Since there's no lovable dog in this, where are the dogs? Just with the hillbillies? Okay. Anyway, so that's that. That's what I'm thinking. That's how I'm thinking the killer died. Because how else could you scare 6, 7 grown men to death? There has to be drugs involved, like an overkill of drugs, especially for their heart to give out. So yes, that's what I'm thinking. Killer poisoned them. Yeah, there's no other way. But also what we learned. Peter's dad. What's his name? Peter's dad, is it Frank? Give me a second. No, Hank. Hank. So Navarro finds out that the call about the boyfriend was sent to Hank. Hank didn't do anything about it. Right? So Navarro's pissed, as she should be. But and the I like, you remember my hot take was Hank was in on it. But after this episode, I feel like he is just one of the townsfolk. That's also what we learned. So he didn't report this girl's death. Why? Because this girl was a known activist. And we've learned that the beef of the town. Because there's been so many random brawls and fights. And then I couldn't understand, like, why Liz was so mad at her daughter for putting a little 3 lines on her chin. I was like, what is that killing? It's fake. And it's part of her heritage. But then, as this episode unveils, we learn why Liz don't want her to be a part of that. That girl, she was an activist. All the young activist girls out there that's going against the mine that employs 50% of the town. Huh? The mine is 50% of revenue for everybody living in that town. So, yeah, I can see some people being mad as y'all want to shut it down because they're going to have to pack up and go. The life they ran away from to make this money in this miserable town, Alaska, now you try and take that from them, so they got to go back to the real world, huh? Where the sun comes up and goes down every day, not disappear for 30 days. If you got to make them go back and face their lives there, they're not going to be too happy. So they're going to fight for it. So that's the beef. The Alaskan people, the indigenous of that land versus everybody else that came out there to get this mining money. Okay. So we got that. Now, and when her daughter went to those meetings, that's where you see everybody with like the tribalish paint on their face, and then it instantly clicks. Okay, that's why she wants her to wipe it off. She doesn't want her to end up like that girl who nobody cared died except for Navarro and Danvers. The whole missing, the one that got did dirty in that thing, because it looks like, because who cares for somebody who is trying to stop your money, essentially. And Hank looks like his crew, the crew he rolled out there with, the crew full of, like, are they getting paid? You gotta be weary of 20, 30 grown men with guns and dogs and snowmobiles who is down to drive out into the night's ice looking for, they don't even have a picture of, have no clue what this dude looking for. They're just looking for a random dude outside and doing it willfully. That's the type of people that the activists are going up against. It's no. So, and that's what made me think like, okay, Hank is not a mastermind. He's not scaring anybody to death. He's not covering up stuff. He's just not caring. Hank just doesn't care. He cares about the other man that he thinks is a woman on the phone and his son from time to time. Maybe his grandson. I don't know. Haven't seen them interact. That's a typical I hate my dad type vibe going on between Peter and Hank. But yeah, so we learned why Liz is so on her daughter about that tribal stuff. It's almost a sign of being a radical, right? If that makes sense. So we did learn that. We learned what the beef was down there and why that is. We learned a lot about Navarro. Because to me, Navarro looks like the warrior of women, right? And when she goes to get information from her like boy toy, like the meat sickle dude with just the SpongeBob toothbrush, I respected his play in this. She comes barging in, gets rid of his ice fish. Like he looked like he was working on the fish for a long time. I'd be pissed too if I was him. But whatever. And he's tired of just getting used like you know like a special toy that one might order off Amazon or a shady site. Huh? He's tired of being used like that. So he wants to get information like, look, man, you can't just keep smashing on me and I don't even know what's up with it. Talk to me. You want some info? I'm gonna get some info. So out of that, we find out about Navarro's mother. Probably dealing with mental illness, domestic violence, somebody killed her. Right? Crime not um, solved. Fits the MO. So now any woman getting abused, like the one that her and Danvers couldn't help until it was too late, and then they off that dude. So Navarro's entire her whole life seems to be missing, murdered, battered women, starting with her mother, and she's scared for her sister. So we see what drives her when it comes to like sticking up for the ladies. So we get more of Navarro's story. So like everything is coming together like perfectly. Like it's all starting to make sense. Peter and his wife, that little argument, he was completely in the wrong. He's trying to tell her about how he wants to be super cop. She's like, I didn't marry that. I married a dude that loved me. He was goofy. He was funny. Now look at you. I don't even get to see you. Typical relationship argument. He lost it. He know he did. He tried. You know, communication ain't always easiest, but it's looking like he's in competition with Navarro. It's nice to see because he wants to be better. And Navarro constantly teasing him is like it's like your regular what they call it, hazing. Like Navarro's just hazing him because she knows he's next up to take over this mantle that she left. She's just here to do this one case with Liz, and then he can have her back. But in that meantime, she'll give him a rough time until he becomes better. And we discovered the phone. He was able to hack the phone. I love that Danvers went to him to hack the phone. He's like, I don't know how to do this. Like, why, what? You're under 30 and have friends. You know how to hack a phone. Fair enough. Because guess what my boy Peter did? Being under 30 and having friends. Phone unlocked. What do you know? And then they try to give us that eerie when she screams she found it. Like that was a dope cliffhanger. They all sitting there hearing her scream to death. You know, they heard her death. I'm assuming we're going to see this video next episode over and picked apart with the minimal things they can in Ennis. And I think that's why. Do I think this particular case, if happened in like a Anchorage, do I think it would have got solved a lot quicker? For sure. They just have more things. Like more things you need to solve above level crimes. Ennis It's just in the dirt, grimy. They of the minds of let's throw powder on it and get the fingerprint, like old school tactics. There's nothing updated in Ennis, so it's just taking some. It's just like an old school, like you watching like a '60s noir detective film with the stuff they got out in Ennis. You just got a lot of gumption, a lot of brains, a lot of piecing things together to figure this one out, and it's a weird one. Next episode, I believe Anchorage is gonna go ahead and take them bodies. I don't think that's gonna stop her. I think we're gonna see her traveling more between Ennis and Anchorage, figuring out this crime. Because how long can you keep six frozen dudes in in the ice arena? Like, no, it's not. That's not a thing. That's just it's just not a thing. So there's that. Do we learn anything else? I don't. I think that's all they gave us this episode. But it's shaping up piece by piece. Is there anything with the daughter that I left out that was important? I don't think so. Again, she's just trying to find her way. But this was like primarily a Danvers and Navarro episode. Getting to know the ladies of Venice, if you would. So we get more of their motivation, more of what makes them the way they are. And now that we get more clues to this crime, I'm looking around. Huh? You want to know who I think is the killer now? Now I took Hank off my list. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put Navarro's boyfriend up there. Yeah. Why? I don't know. Call it a gut feeling. But also be prepared for me to wipe him off my list of killers probably when he ends up dead or something, and then I move on to somebody else. I don't expect to be right until at least like the episode before the last. If we don't know already by then. So yeah, I got a feeling it's him now. So no more Hank. Okay, Hank is just dumb. He's just pro mining, pro town, pro getting this money. So if a protester dies and the biggest thing we have is somebody's boyfriend, and according to him, she didn't smash half the town, he's not looking too deep into it. I don't feel like he's about to do anything too deep. So, let alone to come up with a way to kill 7 men on the ice and be working right there with him. I just don't think Hank has that brain power. Nor do I think we've seen his friends, we've seen his boys. I just don't think they're capable of doing it either. It's just I don't know. I mean, who signs up to do that for free? Like they're crazy. No pay, no beer, no food. Like they were just all bored and was like, let's go do this. Let's go have some fun. Maybe kill something. I don't know. Right? Um. Oh, when Navarro and them went to the reservation, I guess is that safe to say? They went to the reservation to talk to Oliver. Oliver was not too thrilled to have them just breaking into his crib. Essentially, another reason why Danvers is a dirty cop. She outside screaming, "You said come in? Okay, no problem." Like, no, nobody said none of that. Danvers is down to break the rules. So I can't wait to see how far she's willing. Well, we know how far she's willing to push it. So, knowing that she's willing to kill people that commit crimes, that should make this episode, that should make this season pretty good. Because I feel like she's going to press the envelope on a lot of people. I think Danvers might catch a few bodies. Maybe even Navarro. I think it's deeper than one person. Just don't know how deep. You got the Cineswirl cult out there somewhere. We learned about where the symbol came from. That was something else we learned. She dreamt it up one night, got it tattooed, and that was it. We didn't really get a definition or a meaning of it. We got our like creepy lady that followed her boyfriend into the snow to find the bodies. She knows that that symbol has like a eerie meaning behind it. We just don't know. She knows the girl had a dream about it. She had no clue, just knew to get it tatted. Still, we know nothing about the swirl. We know nothing. So more into that, I guess. And since so many people have it and is doing it, that's what leads me to believe like it's more than just the one killer. Almost maybe she was almost a sacrifice. So I can't wait to see what else they find off that phone because that's like the biggest lead so far. But all in all, man, it was a great episode. It answered a lot of my questions, and I feel more equipped going forward. Like I kind of this episode kind of got me ready, and I know that I got more of emotion. So my hot takes are gonna come a little bit better, a little bit more precise. I was right with Peter already, and he wanted to be super cop. He explained that to his wife, so ding ding, I got that one. What else did I get right? That's about it. Cause I was big wrong on Hank. Maybe he'll surprise me and actually be a genius, like a Kaiser Soze. Highly doubt it. But yeah, man. With that, protect your health, yourself, your wealth, man. Your boy Rel's out of here. Peace.
Yo, I know I don't need no introduction, but y'all know who it is, man. It's your boy Hollywood Real. And I appreciate you for sliding through and watching these videos. But you know what I need from you? Alright, if you ain't already, I need you to like this and subscribe this, man. We at 1,000 trying to get to 2, alright? Push it for your boy. Get them algorithms up. So when it come to that subscribe button,